as at May 2020. I urge county government to clear outstanding bills by 30th of June 2020 and ensure no further build-up of expenditure arrears. Mr. Speaker, in the financial year 2020-21, beneficiary counties have been allocated $6.8 billion under the Equalization Fund. I am aware that there are disbursement arrears, and I wish to give an assurance that future allocations will be enhanced to make up for the shortfalls. Mr. Speaker, in a High Court ruling of November 2019, the guidelines of the Equalization Fund were declared unconstitutional, null and void. Effectively, the fund's advisory board was disbanded and all operations halted, including payments for ongoing projects. The ruling directed that the National Treasury to develop a new Equalization Fund statutory instrument. In compliance with the ruling, a new draft statutory instrument for the fund has been developed and is ready for gazettement and tabling before Parliament. I'm also aware, Mr. Speaker, the existence of a 2019 private members' bill on the Equalization Fund, which was passed by the National Assembly and is currently before the Senate. In this context, I wish to propose, honorable members, to initiate a process to harmonize efforts to achieve sustainable administration of this fund. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution requires the two-third levels of government to conduct their mutual relations based on consultation and considerations, and to respect the functional and institutional integrity of government at other levels. The objective is to achieve whole government approach to provide synergies and common-sense delivery solutions. Mr. Speaker, towards this end, the government will leverage on the intergovernmental framework for the implementation of national government programs and projects at counties formulated in 2019 to harmonize implementation of plans such as the Big Four development agenda, as well as policies between the two levels of government, including planning and budgeting. This is part of efforts to achieve an all-government approach to development. Mr. Speaker, the rest of my statement is on tax measures for the financial 2020-21 budget contained in the Finance Bill 2020, which I submitted to this House in April 2020, in line with the requirements of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. Further, I will highlight measures on cushion duty as agreed at the regional level during the East African Community Pre-Budget Consultation meeting for the financial year 2020-21. These measures are expected to generate about shilling 38.9 billion in tax revenue to the Exchequer. Mr. Speaker, manufacturing is a major pillar in the Big Four agenda, where the government aims to increase the contribution of the sector to GDP from about 8% to 15% by 2022. In this regard, I have proposed at the regional level measures aimed at promoting local manufacturing and also measures to ensure that locally manufactured products are competitive. Mr. Speaker, the customs measures that have been agreed upon at the regional level shall, in accordance with the East African Community practice, be effective from 1st July 2020. I wish to highlight a few of the measures that have direct impact on Kenya manufacturers. Mr. Speaker, our metal and allied sector continues to face stiff competition from imported iron and steel products. In order to protect the sector, the rate of import duty of 35% with the corresponding specific rates on a wide range of these products have been maintained for another year. Kenya has sufficient capacity to produce paper and paperboard products. In order to protect manufacturers of these products from cheap imported products, we have maintained the import duty rate at 25% for another 1 year. Mr. Speaker, Kenya has capacity to manufacture baby diapers. However, the imports used in manufacturing these products attract import duty. In order to support manufacturing of the products locally, all inputs for manufacturing of baby diapers will be imported duty-free under the South African Community Duty Remission Scheme. In addition, to promote local production of new clothing and apparels, including fashion and design, imports used in the textile and apparel sector will be imported duty-free under the scheme. Mr. Speaker, The telecommunications sector provides good opportunities for innovations, particularly for our youth. In order to stir growth in this sector and encourage local investment, import for assembly or manufacture of mobile phones will be imported duty-free under the South African Community Duty Remission Scheme. Mr. Speaker, leather and footwear sector has capacity for manufacturing footwear considering we have adequate raw materials. It is important for this sector to be protected from cheap imported products in order to encourage investments in the sector. In this regard, we have maintained the specific rates of duty in addition to 25% duty rate, which were granted last year. This will also safeguard government revenues by curbing undervaluation of such imported products. Mr. Speaker, there is need to protect local producers of electrical parts and accessories. In this regard, we shall be applying the imported duty rates of 35% instead of 25% on such products for 1 year. Mr. Speaker, the East African Community Region has agreed to grant duty remission on raw materials and imports for manufacture of masks, sanitizers, ventilators, and personal protective equipment, including coveralls and face shield. This will enhance measures aimed at containing COVID-19 in addition to encouraging local production of such products. Mr. Speaker, as a long-term measure, the East African Community Region has agreed to amend the East African Community Customs Management Act to exempt from import duty supplies for diagnosis, prevention, treatment, and management of epidemics, pandemics, and health hazards to deal with any future occurrences of such nature. Mr. Speaker, the government introduced a simplified monthly rental income tax in 2016 to enhance tax compliance. Under this regime, the rental income is taxed at the rate of 10% for individuals earning annual rent income of Kenya shilling 10 million and below. Mr. Speaker, the Kenya shilling 10 million per annum threshold has brought positive impact on tax compliance. I therefore propose to raise this threshold to Kenya shilling 15 million per annum in order to bring more landlords to the simplified regime. Mr. Speaker, some companies continue to declare losses year in, year out, hence not contributing to the exchequer in terms of tax revenue. However, these companies enjoy facilities such as infrastructure, whose cost of construction and maintenance is serviced by the government through tax revenues contributed by other patriotic taxpayers. In order to ensure all taxpayers contribute to the construction and maintenance of our infrastructure, I have proposed to introduce a minimum tax that will be payable by all companies at the rate of 1% of their gross turnover. Mr. Speaker, with the first advancement in technology, many business transactions are increasingly being carried out through digital platforms. In some cases, due to the nature of the transaction, it is difficult to effectively tax the income derived through such platforms. It is therefore necessary to provide a framework that will facilitate taxation of such income. In this regard, I propose to introduce digital service tax on the value of transactions at the rate of 1.5%. Mr. Speaker, food security is one of the pillars of the Big Four agenda, and the government has put measures to support its implementation, including food production. To further this agenda, I propose to exempt maize or corn seeds from the value-added tax in order to make them affordable to our farmers. Further, I have proposed to exempt ambulance services from VAT in addition to medical, nursing, and dental services, which are currently exempt from VAT to cushion Kenyans from the high cost of such services. Mr. Speaker, to enhance tax compliance, I propose to introduce a voluntary disclosure program to allow Kenyans who in the last 5 years may have inadvertently made omissions in their tax returns to voluntarily disclose such omission and pay tax. The program will run for 3 years. In order to encourage uptake of this program, I further propose to grant relief for penalties and interest in respect of the tax disclosed after payment of the principal tax. Mr. Speaker, currently, imports by Kenya Defense Forces and the National Police Services are charged import declaration fee and railway development levy. These charges reduce budgetary allocation of these institutions. I have therefore proposed to exempt from both the import declaration fee and railway development levy on all goods, including materials, supplies, equipment, machinery, and motor vehicles imported for official use by the Kenya Defence Forces and the National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, the government has been encouraging investments under the public-private partnership, particularly in the road sector. To further such partnerships, I propose to amend the Public Roads Toll Act to enable the persons who enter into an agreement with the government to collect road tolls on roads constructed and managed under such agreements. Mr. Speaker, the budget I have presented today involved making hard decisions in the quest to move our country forward. Faced with limited resources, the balancing has not been easy. We have channeled resources to cushion citizens and businesses from the adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as interventions to support economic recovery. I firmly believe that the measures spelled out in this budget will create more jobs and transform the lives of Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, at the heart of these measures is our commitment to protect the lives and livelihood of citizens and support recovery of business. I believe that working together, we will withstand the current storm as we have done in the past. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, allow me to express my gratitude to His Excellency the President for his leadership and wise counsel in the management of economic and financial policies of this country. I would also like to thank my fellow cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, and their staff for contribution to the financial 2020-21 budget process. For their support during the preparation and approval of this budget, may I sincerely appreciate. My appreciation goes to honorable speakers of both National Assembly and the Senate and their respective clerks for overseeing the approval of submissions on the budget estimates of the financial 2020-21. Majority Leader, especially Honorable Duale of the National Assembly, as well as the Majority Leader of the Senate, Honorable Pugisio, for their relentless support to get most of the legislative proposals on finance matters passed through Parliament. Members of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, led by the Chairman and the Parliamentary Budget Office, for the constructive and comprehensive engagements in their approval process for the budget estimates for financial year 2020-21. Members of the Departmental Committee on the Finance and National Planning, led by the Chair, for their commitment and diligence in the approval of various tax laws process during the year. All members of the various departmental committees of the National Assembly and Senate for their cooperation and support. The management and staff of Kenya Revenue Authority, Central Bank of Kenya, all financial sector regulators, and the various agencies under the National Treasury and Planning for their contribution and advice during the budget process. The Commission on Revenue Allocation and its chairperson for their contributions. Management and staff of National Treasury, under the leadership of the Principal Secretary, Dr. Muya, the officers tirelessly worked long hours, including most weekends and holidays, notwithstanding the constraining COVID-19 environment, to ensure that all budget and economic documents for the financial 2020-21 are produced not only timely, but of high quality. These are the unsung heroes of this nation, and I appreciate the extra effort in this exercise. The management and staff of the State Department for Planning for the support, staff from the Attorney General's Office, our multilateral and bilateral development partners, as well as the private sector for their contribution to our development agenda through their technical and financial support, and the members of the Fourth Estate for actively keeping Kenyans informed of the developments in the country and their budget process for the financial year 2020-21. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I must express my sincere gratitude to Kenyans from all parts of the country for their insightful contributions, proposals, and suggestions as we finalize this budget. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic has been disruptive to our lives. I call upon Kenyans to pull together in the fight against the pandemic. Let us give safety and security of each other a priority. Follow the mandatory guidelines issued by the government on COVID-19 prevention as the country carefully and slowly begins to reopen for business and economic recovery. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank our gallant health personnel who are on the front line of the COVID-19 war. Indeed, we can't thank them enough. May God bless them and their families for putting their lives as a shield for the rest of us against the virus. Mr. Speaker, we cannot forget the men and women in uniform and all the security personnel for maintaining law and order and safeguarding the security of the country. Mr. Speaker, my great appreciation goes to all Kenyans for demonstrating good citizenship by cooperating and supporting the government in this fight. Together, we have made good progress and still need to forge forward in our Kenyan spirit that we will win this war. Equally, Mr. Speaker, our heartfelt gratitude goes to the business community, donors and individuals who continue to donate resources to the Emergency Response Fund. The private sector has equally ensured that there are food supplies on our shelves, sanitizers are readily available, as well as masks greatly supported the common mwananchi. Mr. Speaker, I am well aware that the success of the measures I have outlined today will depend on the health behavioral change of our people. This strict discipline has been ably demonstrated by the health professionals in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Let us all pull together in observing the various protocols as advised by the Ministry of Health. I thank you all. May God bless you all and the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, in April 2020, I submitted the budget estimates together with accompanying documents. As I conclude, I further submit the following documents to this August House and request that you receive them. 1. Budget statement for 2020-21 financial year. Budget policy statement for the year 2020-20. Estimates of the revenue grants and loans for financial year 2020-21 budget. Financial statement for financial year 2020-21 budget. 2020 medium-term debt management strategy. Budget highlights, the Mwananchi Guide, financial year 2020-21 budget, and finally, a statistical annex of the budget statement for the financial year 2020-21. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable members, I should thank the Cabinet Secretary from the National Treasury and Planning for having ably made the public pronouncement of the budget policy highlights for the national government for the financial year 2020-2021 and the medium term and the revenue-raising measures contained in its speech. Honourable members, as you are aware, today's budget speech is not to be accompanied by the usual cocktail and courtesies. In this regard, honourable members and all guests are invited to depart, particularly from the precincts of Parliament, at their own pleasure. And the time now being 4:35 p.m., honourable members, the House stands adjourned till Tuesday, June the 16th at 10 a.m.